Another brilliancy by Magnus Carlsen. In the game you're going to see, Magnus makes 3 brilliant moves in a row. You don't want to miss that. April 20th, Title Tuesday Blitz Tournament, Magnus plays white and starts with the move e4. His opponent, very strong Ukrainian and now American Grandmaster Alexander Bortnyk, plays his favorite Alekhine defense with knight f6. e5, immediately attacking the knight. Knight jumps to the middle of the board, knight d5. d4 for Magnus. d6 challenging white pawn center for Bortnyk. Knight develops to f3. Exchange of the pawns on e5, c6 for black, bishop goes to a very nice diagonal, bishop d3, knight d7 challenging the knight on e5, knight retreats to f3, knight f6, now the knights are connected, h3, not allowing black to put any pieces on a square g4, knight b4 challenging the bishop, bishop retreats to e2, bishop f5, and now the pawn on c2 is under attack and it has to be protected, and pretty much the only good move to protect that pawn is knight a3. Black plays e6 to develop the only undeveloped minor piece in their position, bishop dark square bishop, c3 hitting the knight, knight jumps to the middle of the board, knight d5, knight c4 targeting a very juicy square e5, bishop develops to e7 preparing the castle, white castle, black castle, knight goes to square e5, c5 immediately undermining white center, a3, h6 creating a loop for the black king, and c4 attacking the black knight in the middle. The black knight retreats to b6, exchange of the pawns on c5, and b4 attacking the bishop on c5. It has to retreat to e7. Bishop goes to a very nice diagonal, long diagonal with bishop b2. Now Bortnyk could exchange the queens with queen takes d1, but decides to play the game with the queens and plays queen c7. Magnus jumps with the queen to b3, a5, starting some activities on the queen side of the board for Bortnyk. We have rook d1, exchange of the pawns on b4, and rook c8, putting some pressure on the pawn on c4. Bishop d4 for Magnus, and knight d7, challenging the knight on e5. Magnus plays c5, very nice move, creating space and taking under control the squares b6 and d6. Knight jumps to d5, bishop c4, attacking that knight with the bishop and the queen, trying to win a pawn on d5. Bortnyk defends that with knight f6. We have rook e1 and b6. And here the winning move for Magnus was actually sacrificing the knight and taking the pawn on f7. He didn't do that. It led to very complicated variations, and this is a blitz game with a minute and a half to go. He just takes the pawn on b6, knight takes b6, bishop takes b6, queen takes b6, and now a brilliant move, knight takes f7, sacrificing of the knight. But it was a little too late, because actually Bortnyk had a great move, rook takes c4, rook takes c4, queen takes c4, and then king takes f7, and black have no problems. Instead, Bortnyk took the knight on f7, accepted the sacrifice, and in return he received another brilliant move by Magnus Carlsen, bishop takes e6 check, sacrificing the bishop. Bishop takes e6, and believe it or not, third brilliant move in a row, rook takes e6, sacrificing the rook. And now if queen takes e6, white would play knight e5 check. The queen is pinned, so it cannot take the knight on e5. The king would have to go away, and Magnus would win the queen. So, in this position, Bortnyk found a good idea. He played rook c3, and now if queen takes c3, queen takes e6, and again black is even better in this position. But instead Magnus plays another great move, Rook takes f6 check. Not only it's a check, it's a double check from the queen and the rook. So black cannot take the queen because they're still under attack by the rook. King takes f6. Queen takes c3 check. King f7, another check with the knight. Another check with the queen. And here, queen e4, attacking the rook. Rook goes to e8, and we have knight g6. Check, fork, king has to go away, knight takes e7. Magnus has an extra knight, an extra 2 pawns, and after king f7, rook e1 protecting the knight on e7, queen d6, Bortnyk actually resigned. Too little material, the position is totally lost, and Magnus still has 1 minute left on the clock. But in fact, in this position, Magnus had a checkmate in 4 moves. Queen e5 check, queen f6, another check, and after queen e6, the only move, queen takes e6, king f8, queen g8. That would have been an epic checkmate. But it didn't happen because Bortnyk resigned before that. Another brilliant game by Magnus, 3 brilliant moves in a row. If you like the video, if you like the content, please subscribe, leave a comment. Thank you for watching.